Hi, my name is Gayatri Chona, and I'm a clinical dietitian and a practicing nutritionist for over a decade now. I believe that we tend to overcomplicate health and diet. It's the simple changes and the simple habits is that what makes up health. Fat diets don't work, over exercising doesn't work, not even crash diets work in the long run. But it's the small everyday changes and habits that we make is what makes up our health. Today, I would like to explore the relationship between food and our mental well being. There are many ways to assess our physical health. We run multiple blood checks, we measure our body fat percentage, our body weight to see if we are physically healthy. We check our bank balances and our net worth to know our financial well being. Our social well being is measured by the kind of friends and family we are surrounded with. But probably the hardest things to measure is our mental health and emotional health. Our brain is one of the most powerful organs, which is always on 24/7. It is on when we are breathing. It controls our thoughts, our daily activities, etc. It's even on when we are asleep. So imagine the kind of energy our brain requires to function. And this energy comes from the food and the fuel we give our body. That's the food we eat, is what determines not just our physical health, but also our mental and social well being. Think of your body like an expensive machine. The kind of fuel you feed it with is how well the machine and how efficiently this will function. If we feed our body with whole foods, fresh vegetables, full of vitamins and minerals and antioxidants, it will protect our body from free radical damage and oxidative stress, overall giving us good physical and mental health. However, if we feed it, highly processed foods, ready to eat, foods which are full of preservatives and trans fats, it will not only hamper our body's response to insulin, it'll create inflammation, oxidative stress, all of which not just hampers our physical health, but also leads to mood disorders, our ability to cope with anxiety, stress, and also depression. Our belly and brain are connected to each other by multiple pathways. One being the vagus nerve, which is one of the largest nerves of our body that connects our brain to the belly and sends signals in both directions. The second is through neurotransmitters called serotonin and GABA, also called as gamma aminobutyric acid. Now, these are also called as our happy hormones. These neurotransmitters, regulate our mood, our appetite, our sleep cycles, and they also, determine our response to stress, fear, and anxiety. Now, you'll be surprised to know that 70 to 80% of these neurotransmitters are actually produced in our digestive tract. Now, these neurons line the nerves of our digestive system and not just help digest our food, but also our mood. So, if you want to, improve your mood and your mental health, it starts at the gut level. We have to improve our diet and what we eat. You can start by paying attention to what are the foods that work for you and don't work for you. A good way to begin, if you're suffering with any, stomach-related issues or mental issues, a good way to start is by an elimination diet. Remove all processed junk food out of your diet and do a diet cleanse where you're eating, a diet full of whole, fresh foods, which are not full of preservatives or trans fats and are freshly prepared in your kitchen. You can then gradually and slowly reintroduce certain foods back to see how the response has been. You will know automatically what are the foods that have worked for you and which are the foods which have kind of irritated you. And that's a good way to start. And you'll be surprised to know that how just changing your diet can not just change your physical health, but also your mental well-being. Let's talk a little bit about certain foods that help brain function and help elevate our mood or, that make us lazy and lethargic. We often feel very lazy and lethargic after we've had a very heavy carb meal full of rice and pasta, or we feel extremely alert at night at times when we've had one too many coffees. Now, this is because the different foods have a different response in our brain cells. If we were to take a closer look at our brain and to see what it is made up of, you would know that 60% of our brain is made up of fats and lipids. So it is very important that we supplement our body with essential fatty acids like omega-3, omega-6, because it is seen, research has proven that, a good amount of omega-3 fatty acids helps prevent degenerative brain diseases. Include a lot of nuts, seeds, and fatty fish in your daily diet to get your dose of essential fatty acids and your omega-3s. Another thing to be careful of and to stay clear of is your trans fats and saturated fats. One thing to stay clear of are your trans fats and your saturated fats, which are found in ready to eat chips and processed food. These are the ones that not just lead to hardening of our cell membranes and create heart damage, but are also not good for our mental health and well-being. It is important to also stay clear of trans fatty acids and saturated fats, which are found in highly processed and ready-to-eat foods. They not only, harden our arteries and cell membranes, but also hamper the communication between the neurons in the body. The second one is your proteins and amino acids. Now, these are the building blocks of our body, which promote growth. They also regulate all our neurotransmitters and how we feel and behave. And the food that we eat affects the process of these neurotransmitters in our body. That is one of the reasons why we feel extremely lazy after a high carb meal or very alert after a protein rich meal. Because the compounds in these food is what leads to a release of certain chemicals in our body like epinephrine, dopamine, serotonin, all of which affect our moods, our sleep, and our alertness. Just like our body, our brains also require a good amount of micronutrients and antioxidants. They help reduce inflammation and fight off free radicals. Having lots of fresh fruits and vegetables makes sure that we get our daily dose of these vitamins and minerals, especially vitamins and minerals like vitamin B6, B12, folic acid, and zinc, selenium, etc. All these help in better cognitive development and brain health. Our brains require a lot of energy, and the primary source of energy comes from glucose. So it is important that we eat foods which are rich in complex carbohydrates that give the body the good quality of sugars and glucose to function correctly. Include foods which are rich in complex carbohydrates like oats, millets, legumes, etc. But stay clear of simple sugars and carbs, which create an immediate spike in our blood glucose levels, but at the same time also give us these sudden drops of blood sugar, which can further lead to low energy levels as well as mood swings and mood disorders. Last but not the least, what our body really needs is water and hydration, also called as vitamin W. Multiple studies have linked dehydration to more anxiety, mood swings, and even depression. So it's important to keep your body well hydrated for the body and the brain. So make sure you get your 2 to 3 liters of fluids daily. Hydrate, drink up, and sip that stress away. We've already spoken about how the food we eat influences our emotional and mental health. Let's talk a little bit about how our emotional health and emotional well-being determines the food choices we make. How many of us reach out for that decadent chocolate cake or a packet of chips or noodles when we are upset or having a hard day at work or feeling unwell or emotionally drained? Well, more often than not, we don't even realize that our emotional state determines the food choices and the food we reach out to. These connections between our food choices and our emotional state start as early as from when we are children. Do you remember bribing your child with that chocolate when he's sad or hurts himself? Well, these are things that go a long way. What we don't realize is that these connections are built on from the time when we are young and our children, and they go a long way. And as we grow up, these connections only get stronger. And then every time when we are having a bad day or we are emotionally sad, we will reach out to to those so-called comfort foods which give us that warmth and happiness at temporary for that temporary moment. So it is very essential that we disassociate these connections, and our food choices are not determined by our by our mood or by what kind of a day we are having, because what we think of as comfort food at that time is what will lead to bad health in the future, leading to multiple problems. And then this becomes like a vicious cycle, because then every time when we are upset, we will reach out for the junk food, and that junk food is what will going to make us unhealthy eventually. And this connection then carries on, and it's very difficult to break out of this vicious cycle. I'm not saying that you should not enjoy that piece of cake or that ice cream, but always eat it because you enjoy it or because you want to have it. Don't have it because you're having a bad day or because you're feeling emotionally low. Food has to be enjoyed and not as something as we resort to when we're sad or upset. So be mindful of the food choices that you always make, be it when you're sad, be it when you're happy, be it when you're grocery shopping. If we eat with mindfulness, if we eat with awareness, it is something that will not only break these connections to our emotional state and comfort food, but also create healthier relationship with our food. While eating fresh and wholesome food is important for overall health, but there are certain foods which find a special importance when it comes to dealing with stress and anxiety. Foods like oatmeal, which is very rich in fiber, including green leafy vegetables, which are full of vitamin A and antioxidants that help fight free radicals. Vitamin C rich fruits and vegetables, such as your blueberries, oranges, lemon, and your essential fatty acids, which we get from nuts, seeds, and avocados. All of these are very, very important when in helping to deal with stress and anxiety. Also, another thing which works wonders is a simple glass of warm milk. It could be your almond milk or regular cow's milk with a little bit of kesar and haldi, had at night, is very, very calming and makes you sleep like a baby. So make sure to include these kind of foods in your daily diet to help with stress and anxiety.